Every single time a gaming developer tries their best to hide the fact that they're working with narrative consulting companies, it blows up in their faces because the internet is forever. And if there are any ties to you and a company like that online, people will find them. And that is exactly what is happening right now because Dustborn is the latest, wokest game on the block that people have been pointing and laughing at. But now we're finding out that Red Thread has been caught working with a massive consulting company. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, the news with Dustborn has not stopped. We have seen the awful player counts, the terrible reviews, and the way that developers have responded to accusations levied towards them. Of course, we just had, launch week, and it was a nightmare. They should have never released this game on the same day as Black Myth Wukong, but even if they had waited, I don't see a way that people would buy this. I just don't see an audience showing up to support it. But the all-time peak was a measly 83 people, the newest, wokest game on the block that the mainstream media has been shilling for a very long time at this point. Couldn't even garner 100 people in-game at one freaking time. And then, of course, just recently, we saw accusations being levied towards them that Dustborn completely ripped off GTA Online, copying the apartment layouts one to one, even down to things like TV locations, speakers. It seems like they were extremely lazy and that they didn't know how to create a decent game. So this is what they came up with. But to top all of that off, now that they've been called out on social media, and people are doing some digging on them, we found out that not only have they gotten government funding, but they're working with this massive consulting company. So Grums, aka Mark Kern, had made a post saying Dustborn used far more government money than had previously been reported. The Norwegian Film Institute funded the game it was roughly 1.4 million USD. This is in addition to the 150,000 euros from the Creative EU grant program. I mean, this is basically an Antifa simulator. I did live stream it for 6 hours. I think I lost a few brain cells. It was truly an awful experience. There was not good gameplay, music, graphics, dialogue, pacing. Nothing with this game was good. It's basically just propaganda simulator. They think that America is evil and they really wanted to portray that in the game. And it just was a freaking nightmare. But the story doesn't end there, because after doing some digging, this is from Minimal Effort, they were able to uncover the Red Thread Games is represented by a massive multinational investment and consulting firm known as Digital Development Management, or DDM. Among the many services they offer, they find potential buyers for studios looking for acquisitions or funding, as well as offers consulting services to several prominent companies such as Crunchyroll and Universal. So, of course, this on its own wouldn't be enough to, label DDM as a woke company, but listed under their Friends tab on their website, in their About section, there are numerous DEI-infested organizations and companies that DDM is listed as a sponsor or advisory board member of. They, of course, want to push LGBTQ content into video games, into advertisements, but they also want to, quote, use tech to fight toxicity in online games, which is complete and utter bullshit. They want to combat toxic speech online, but toxic to these individuals is whatever they deem it as. What might be criticism to you and I is complete hatred and harassment to them, which is the issue with fighting things like speech online. It just ends up at the end of the day being complete and utter censorship. They want control of people, which is definitely not going to bode well for their future, given hundreds of thousands to millions of people just in the gaming industry are fighting back against things like this. We are sick and tired of being called racist, sexist, bigots, and toxic, all because we want to defend the industry that we love, all because we want products to release that are actually good and deserving of our money. And their website doesn't explicitly state the company's stance on ESG or DEI, but it's a pretty safe bet to say that they are infected with the woke mind virus. I mean, they might not have it in bright flashing lights on their webpage, but judging by the partners that they have and the companies they've worked with, it's clear as day that this is something that they are trying to promote. And unfortunately, they are within the gaming industry, and Dustborn is on their list of products. And I can't say that I'm very shocked to hear that some, massive consulting company has worked with Red Thread and specifically on Dustborn. And if you really start digging into the projects that they've done, there are a lot of extremely questionable ones here. Yes, some of them are perfectly fine releases and honestly really great releases like Metroid Dread, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, but again, lots of questionable ones like Atlas Fallen, for example. That was an extremely boring, bland, and yes, narrative-filled game that should have never been created, in my opinion. I live streamed a playthrough of it on the channel. It was another game that released that I personally regretted playing, just like Dustborn. I give these games a shot to try to be fair because I'm talking about them on the channel and I want to have my own genuine thoughts formed on them. But at the same time, I just cannot sit here and look at this company and go, oh yeah, what they're doing is perfectly fine just because they have a handful of decent games on this list. I'm not somebody who, at the end of the day, is going to look at one single company and, boycott them and absolutely refuse to touch any games they're affiliated with, because sometimes, yes, bad companies can still make pretty good products, but if you look at these, there's just nothing here to praise or to say, wow, these are a lot of green flags. It's just not apparent. There are many questionable products here again, and looking at this list, it's absolutely massive. So I will be keeping my eye on, DDM going forward, any companies potentially working with them. But, when you've got Lord of the Rings, the Gollum game, and Dustborn on your list, it definitely raises quite a few red flags. And this is a company that we are going to have to keep an eye on, just like Sweet Baby Inc., Black Girl Gamers, Gamers X, all of these, consulting companies that at the end of the day are really only there to, manipulate products. So now we have another consulting company we've got to keep our eyes on going forward, and I definitely will be doing that. But Dustborn was already a massive failure. It was already a lost cause. There was nothing that they could do or say to make this experience any better. It was truly an abysmal one. I can't believe I played 6 freaking hours of it because of how awful it is. But now we know Red Thread Games has been caught working with a massive consulting company, and it seems that they wanted to try to hide it, but you can't hide anything on the internet. And of course, once information's already out there, the internet doesn't forget. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.